fitness instructor in an exercise system called the Gyrotonic Expansion System, and we are here in my studio in Maui. The Gyrotonic Expansion System is a fitness training system. It's meant for the same thing that most other fitness training systems are for: being strong, being mobile, having core strength, being able to lead a better life. It's just that we do it slightly differently. Here at my studio in Maui, we have 3 towers. This is the tower handle units. Got this one, and this one. And while they all look considerably different, they're essentially the same. This is the newest one. It was, I got it in 2018. This is the oldest one. It was built around 2000. And the other one, kind of in the middle. I think people, when they become fitness instructors, and it doesn't matter what the system is, it's not like when you ask a little kid what you're going to do when you grow up. They don't say, "Oh, I'm going to be a personal trainer." You know, going to be a doctor, a scientist, or astronaut, or whatever. But they don't really say personal trainer. To me, people who become fitness instructors in any system, it's because something about that system essentially did something for them. It changed them. I was in the computer field and didn't really like it. It was quite boring, and decided I was going to give my hand at something else, something that involved the body. So I became a massage therapist. One of my very first clients was actually a gyrotonic trainer, and we decided to do a trade. I would work on her, and she would take me to the studio, and we would do workouts. One day, it was about my 5th session, I was on this piece called the Gyrotoner, and the Gyrotoner has wheels on the ground that you put your feet in as you're sitting in essentially a bench or stool, and you make circles, and you can rotate your legs in different ways. And when I got done that session, my hips felt different than they ever had. And I've never been a tight person. I did gymnastics for 7 years, and I did yoga for 7 years after that. So there was flexibility. I was already open. But when I was walking home that day after doing the Gyrotoner lower aspect for like 20 minutes, it's like there was little springs in my hip joints, and a light bulb went over my head, and I decided absolutely I'm becoming a gyrotonic trainer. So I began studying to become a trainer in San Francisco, and that was in 1999, went through the whole course, and then the certification was in November of 99, and then I stayed on training for the next year. There's actually 5 pieces of gyrotonic equipment. These tower handles are all essentially the same. There's 4 other pieces that unfortunately we don't have yet, but we will. And I became certified on all of those, and also became certified in gyrokinesis, which is the non-equipment group exercise version of the work. All that time when I was going through my certification and taking my trainings and all the other equipment, I was still working. I was doing my massage. So for a couple of years, I was doing both gyrotonic training and massage. And then in 2004, I went through the certification to become a regular personal trainer, with the weights and the machines and stuff like that. And so for several years, I was doing all 3 things. I was doing gyrotonic training, I was doing massage, I was doing regular personal training in different levels and different amounts. Finally, in 2010, I decided I'm kind of done with the bodywork, massage type stuff. And when I finally came here to Maui in August of 2017, it's all been gyrotonic since then. When you are a fitness instructor in any system, there's different ways you can find work and be working. You can work for a corporate gym, which I did. I worked for good old-fashioned 24-hour fitness and a much more high-end gym in San Francisco called the Sports Club LA. I've also been an employee at a strictly gyrotonic and Pilates studio. I had my own studio for a short while in San Francisco and worked independently as a trainer in San Francisco and Oakland, where I would just rent from the studio owners, doing most of the times gyrotonic, but sometimes personal training as well. And I did that right up until I moved here. And as much as I liked personal training, the traditional resistance training, and I did, it's good stuff. Gyrotonic has always been right here. It's been the heart. It's been what I've been most interested in and been most excited about. There isn't a system like it. It's unique not only in its equipment, but in how it asks your body to move and the benefits that it can provide to your body. And there's just nothing like it, and I'm super thrilled to be able to have my own studio here in Maui. Through the many years I worked in San Francisco as gyrotonic trainer and massage therapist and personal trainer, I also worked for Gyrotonic, the corporation, There used to be a trade show in the Bay Area down in Santa Clara that was for gyrotonic and yoga and Pilates and a couple of other modalities. And it was like a trade show, so you had booths and all that stuff, and I would work the booth every year for the headquarters, demonstrating the equipment to people, letting them know what it is, giving them the idea that maybe they'd want to become a trainer. And because of that, I got to meet trainers from all over the world. I became friends with master trainers, old school trainers, new trainers. It was a super fun time. Also, because of working for Gyrotonic headquarters in these trade shows, I became very familiar with the equipment, breaking it down, putting it back together, dozens and dozens of times. So eventually it led me to become a certified repair person for the Gyrotonic equipment. So I became very familiar with it. So let's take a look at the equipment. So Gyrotonic training is resistance training. There's weights, as you can see down there. And just like other pieces of equipment you might see at regular gyms, there's straps. We got straps high, we got straps low, but there's also these handles, which are very different. Like I said, all three of these machines are essentially the same. They do basically the same things. The oldest bench, that guy over there, doesn't go up and down. The others do. It's a nice feature. It's helpful. Different people have different heights. But there is an absurd amount of exercises you can do on these pieces of equipment. So with this pulley system and these straps with these wheels that go in any direction, there's a tremendous variety of exercises you can do. You put your body in many different positions. Sometimes you're seated doing spinal motions. Sometimes you're on your back working your hip joints and your knee joints and your hamstrings and your glutes. You can sit facing the tower with the straps in your hands and work your spine and work your core with spiraling exercises. Of course, you work your abdominals. Technically, every exercise, when done correctly, is an abdominal exercise. One of the unique things about Gyrotonic training is the emphasis on the spine. Now, in any exercise system, you're going to pay attention to the spine, the way your client's sitting, how they're moving. Are they being upright? Do they have good posture? But in Gyrotonic training, we very specifically look at the way the spine itself moves, the 6 spinal ranges of motion, and there are only 6. There is flexion, extension, rotation, lateral glide, lateral flexion, circumduction. And there's 2 kinds of circumduction, internal and external. Now that's it. That's the only way you can move your spine. Anything else you ever see is a combination of those. And in Gyrotonic training, we very specifically look at the spinal ranges of motion, and we do them in a variety of ways. We use them with the handles. We do the spinal ranges of motion with the straps. We do the spinal ranges of motion with these guys right here. Those are called the wingmaster. So pretty much every exercise system is a living system. You can always find new things, make new improvements, find new ways of helping your clients reach their goals. Gyrotonic training is not only not different that way, but it's exceptional that way. There are an absurd number of exercises you can do. Just on these tower handle units, you could spend your entire career, never get bored for certain, and never run out of ways you can help your clients. There's also always people coming up with new material. The head of the whole system, Julie Horvath, the guy that created it, he's alive, and he's still adding new material to the system, refining stuff, teaching us new things, coming up with new teacher trainings. But then there's other people who are coming up with teacher trainings as well. There's something like 30 different teacher trainings, and that's just on the tower handle unit. That doesn't include the other piece of equipment. One of those is the wingmaster course, which I developed. So how broad is Gyrotonic training? When I first started out and people would ask me about that, I would say, 250 to 300 exercises you can do on the tower handle unit. Well, now, who knows what that number is, because in the wingmaster course that I currently teach, there's 256 exercises. So those are 256 official Gyrotonic exercises that I added myself. So I don't know how many there are in the whole system. There's a lot. So as a fitness professional, you're either working with clients or you're teaching other teachers. And I do the teacher training for the wingmaster, and it wasn't something that I kind of intended on doing. Oh, I'm going to come up with the training for this. With my background in personal training, I started thinking about how can I apply these things that I learned in personal training, which are valid, which are good things, into gyrotonic training. And somehow it came out that I found the wingmaster to be the best tool for integrating personal training ideas into gyrotonic training, making it better, making it more fun, because gyrotonic training is better and it is more fun. But personal training, you're doing pushing exercises or pulling exercises. You want to group it to real basics, pushing exercises and pulling exercises. Like you got your chest press, pushing exercises. You got your hamstring curl, pulling exercises, bicep curls, pulling exercises, tricep pushdowns, pushing exercises. So I started playing around with the wingmaster, hooking it up to the cables and pushing the wingmaster and pulling the wingmaster. And after a while, I started making a big list and was like, oh, I could probably make a training out of this. So to demonstrate the breadth, the width, the expansiveness of the gyrotonic system, here's just things you can do with the wingmaster. You can do pushing exercises, pulling exercises. You can do them seated, of course. You can do them standing, squatting, lunging, and many more options. It's an incredibly expansive system. There's probably no limit to what you can do, and that's, again, just with the tower handle unit. With the other 4 pieces, forget about it. So, great. Gyrotonic training has an expansive amount of exercise. You can do crazy things, beautiful things, strength training things. So what, right? There's a great saying, I know I heard it through personal training, and it is, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So it doesn't matter how much you know, how many cool exercises you know, if you can't apply it, if you can't help your client reach their goals with that information. And that's one of the key things about being a fitness instructor is the goal is the client. The client is the only one who makes goals. Systems don't have goals. Systems allow your clients to reach their goals. So no matter, I think gyrotonic training is absolutely amazing, but I've often said, I don't teach gyrotonic. I use gyrotonic to help my clients reach their goals. Unless I'm doing a wingmaster course, then I'm teaching gyrotonic. But the important thing is my client's goals. And then obviously different people have different goals. They come into you with different levels of fitness right then. Some people are injured, getting over an injury. They've got chronic issues. They've got poor posture. They're out of shape. They're deconditioned. There's so many different varieties. And you have to be able to help them reach their goals that they want with the knowledge that you have. I mean, you have people who are just someone who works at a retail store or works in an office, all the way up to Kelly Slater, the greatest competitive surfer ever, does gyrotonic training. So you obviously wouldn't train those people the same. No matter how cool your exercise system is, no matter how amazing you think it is, if you can't help your client with their goals, you're going to lose your clients. In the end, fitness training really is it's a very rewarding career. I absolutely love what I do. I'm super happy that I found it. I kind of got into the game kind of late, and not until my 30s that I even find gyrotonic and start becoming a trainer. And I couldn't be happier that I did. It's been excellent, and I really like what I do, helping other people. But fitness training is also, it's a challenging profession. You kind of have to always scramble and hustle to try to find clients. For one reason or another, clients leave you. It's just a natural thing. And then if you want to keep your business up, you got to find more clients. The extra part that's hard about that is competition. There is a lot of competition. You've got gyrotonic and Pilates and yoga and weight training and CrossFit and kettlebells and, jujitsu. There's just so many different ways people can get stronger, can get fit, can work out. And that doesn't even include all the stuff that you can do at home. There's those DVD things like P90X and things like that. And that's all before the COVID thing hit. So with COVID, more and more things have gone online, and a lot of trainers are kind of finding, hey, this is kind of good. When we got this space, for example, that is the group exercise area where we would be having the gyrokinesis classes, the group exercise classes that I mentioned earlier, but we're not having those because of the COVID. So I've gone online. Winds up, I get more people in class online than I ever did in person. So not really sure I'm going to be bringing it back into live either. So to anyone considering a career in fitness, my number one piece of advice is education. Never stop your education. No matter how good you are, there's always something new to learn. You'll have a client who comes in who's got a problem you've never had to deal with before, and you're going to need to figure out how to do that. And you don't necessarily have to come up with all the answers in your own head. A lot of people have answers, and you can go and research it. Not only that, but the more you learn, the better a trainer you become anyway. I started out as a body worker, and I went to 2 different schools and learned 3 different modalities, and then became a gyrotonic trainer, and then a personal trainer, and kettlebells and TRX. And everything I learned informs the previous stuff that I knew, so I become a better trainer, even if I don't use it. Right now, I'm strictly gyrotonic. I don't do kettlebells, I don't do TRX, but learning those made me a better trainer. So that's it for my presentation. Thank you for listening.